three of the
Right.
three of these super psychics were stronger than all of China's entire army.
Right.
So they started locking them up and putting them in asylums so that they wouldn't be able to reach that potential. What
Right.
I'm hoping to see in my lifetime, and hopefully I'm still young enough to see this because it'll take a while, is for all of those people who have that, I guess you could say, a greater inclination for good than for evil. When those people come together, and I think maybe we'll see that very soon, I think it in very literal sense is going to be a spiritual kingdom versus a materialistic one, in the sense that it spills over to the physical,
Absolutely.
but it's for spirit. It's for spirit.
So just to reflect, what you're saying is absolutely correct. And that is, and again, we cannot label a few things. First, we cannot label a whole nation. In other words, there are good people everywhere. I'm sure there are very good Chinese people and very good Persian people, very good Russians, and even Mr. Putin, Vladimir, we know that when he was a kid, he speaks about himself. His parents weren't very much at home. They were both very hardworking people. So he happened to be living next to a nice religious Jewish family, which he didn't know at the time, and they hosted him quite a lot. And he grew up in a Jewish home. And so for the rest of his life, about 19 years ago, he was the vice minister of education, one of the great cities in Russia. And it was a question of opening a Jewish school or not. He opened a Jewish school, he signed. And so he has a meeting every week with the chief rabbi of Russia. And so he is inside him, we know that there is good. There is a person there that's, it's not a question here of being against a certain religion with him. It's more a question of territory, of land, of control, of possession. So the question of religion doesn't come. So we do know that there are good people. We know that there are very good people that say many, many Jewish people in the Holocaust. I'm sure that there are good people in Persia as well. And I'm sure, having lived in Israel, that there's some very not good people also in Israel. the prisons are packed, and not everyone that has a title of a certain religion is but that virtue similarly good. The Bible does say clearly the following: I did not choose you because you are the many. And I think that's what you meant, Mike. I did not choose you because you are the many, right? But because you walk in my ways. So each person now has to put on his flag, crawl out of his own jar, so to say, and look on the label and say, how do I label myself in the everyday life? Am I fighting spirits? Am I always looking for fights? Am I always looking to be a taker? Do I have once a week for a few minutes something to do with spirituality when I go to the house of prayer? Or I'm a living temple. Am I a giving person or am I a taker? I'm always interested in possessions. And again, we are not against possession. Possession is great as long as you work for it your own way, and as long as it's something that accommodates you and it forwards your agenda, which is wonderful. As long as we don't become subjugated to this, as long as we don't bow down to that material, as long as we know it just means to an end and not an end, as long as we don't tread on other people's necks, so to say, in order to achieve our own goals, but we respect and are sensitive to others. As long as in our own mind, again, I'm, like you said, the macro and the micro, I'm an own microcosmos. If I hear this kind of news, what do I do about it? Many people in Ukraine and in Russia saying I became very aggressive, agitated, aggressive, depressed, because the situation influences us. We panic. If we're able to turn it around and say, no, I'm not panicked. Yes, it is a very distressing situation. I'm going to send a wave of love to the world, a wave of compassion. I'm going to pray. I'm going to open Psalms. I'm going to pray for these people, whichever side they are. I'm going to have compassion in my heart. I'm going to do some good act today. I'm going to have less aggression, less hatred. I'm going to accept the one that works next to me at work or down the road or whatever it is, even though they're different religion, different culture, different gender, different color, whatever it is that they are different, they don't think like me, I'm going to accept them. It doesn't mean that I have to agree with them. I can respectfully disagree, but I have to understand that if the heart is ticking, God put him on this earth like he put me, and they've got their own purpose. As long as they don't hurt anyone and don't hurt me or those that I love, so why should I go out of my way to hurt them? I had once this young, his name was Liron, a young IDF Marines in one of my classes. He came for a long time with his girlfriend, they got married. And he asked me, when I meet all kind of, we call them like terrorists from the ISIS or whatever it is, or from Hamas, he said, it's my age kind of guy. He was about 21, 22. I don't know if I have a good reason to kill them because they believe in what they are pursuing in their own mission. And I believe in protecting my own land. Where do I have the audacity to go and murder somebody else? Unless it is the Bible is telling me somebody who comes to kill you, you can definitely stop them, even if it means to kill them. But to just go out of your way to kill somebody else, I don't know where. We're just two human beings. Why can't we sit and have a cup of coffee? I said to him, look, this is very nice, a little bit naive, because by the time you ask him for a cup of coffee, you're not going to be alive. But the truth to be told, he's right. He's right. We are human beings and we must find a way that is not diplomatic, only from with a political agenda, not which is who is the strong guy who's going to take over, like evolution. No, we are human beings and I don't have any permission to go into your territory, not into your possessions, not into your life. And we're going to respect that. That is the basis. By the way, this is very interesting. The Bible clearly says in the Ten Commandments, you shall not kill. But somewhere else in the Bible, it doesn't say you shall not kill because it's not logical, it's not humane. No, because you were created in the image of God. Now that applies to all human beings, Chinese, Muslims, Arabs, Russians, European, Jewish, Buddhist, wherever you are, whoever you are created in the image of God. Means you got a holy spirit soul inside you. And this is what we understand, and this is what we hold. And so I don't have any permission to do any evil to you, to damage, hurt you in any way, unless, of course, my own self-defense is being negated and my life is being compromised. So anyone wants to reflect, or I can move forward to the second half and speak about what can we do about that. Anyone else that, since I see those names in front of me, that you want to share? When you don't share, it means that you're either in agreement or in shock. I'll accept both. So what can we do? So this is very interesting. This is also written in Kabbalah. Not only the situation, the vision, the prophecy. For thousands of years, we've been waiting for that. We haven't been waiting for bloodshed to make things very seriously true. No, God forbid, we don't. We cry, we say psalms, we pray for the welfare of every person on both sides. No question. We've been waiting for this world to move forward. We've been waiting for this world to move forward, and there's two avenues. One avenue is the avenue of love, and friendship, and respect, and mediation between people, and respectfully disagree with each other. And especially when we look at purity. If you look, we had a chance before that. We do forget, before this war came around, that for the last 2-3 years, we've been having this terrible COVID pandemic around the world, which took the lives of many millions of people. And this is not done. It's got all kinds of cousins that came around, and all kinds of names, Omicron and others. So God is cleaning the world. We also do forget that if we look around the world, there's terrible fires everywhere around, including terrible floods. From China, Australia, Germany. Germany is flooded right now. And it's been so for the last few good years. And it clearly says in Kabbalah that before the redemption, rivers are going to go up, tsunamis are going to come. So there's a whole world bubbling and giving birth to something new out there. We just don't know how to read the map, how to read the signs. That's why we opened the engine and we say, wow, my God, terrible fires, terrible wars, terrible kind of plagues around. Somebody's talking to us very seriously. Yeah, God had enough. So what does he want from us? First of all, purity. Purity is not only what we do, but the way that we think about this world. When we know that in the 6 and 7 commandments is definitely do not be adulterous. You know, I've been for years marrying off people, but sometimes I make sure, seriously, and this is by people above me, right, that have told me to do so, not to have all the proper witnesses in the wedding, because many times we know that one of those people in that couple is not going to be very faithful to that marriage. Marriage today, there are 60% people that get divorced, and many good 10% there going to betrayal, going to mischief. So open marriage, living in a commune, like it's very current in Western Europe today, or in America. So we have lost our moral campus. We've lost our ethics. So yeah, you can say this guy is very old-fashioned, he's conservative, he's from the old age. Look, I'm also a very good family lawyer, which I practiced in the past. So I was surprised and shocked when after the first 3 months of me after starting to practice law in Israel as a family lawyer, I got again the same law updated with thousands of pages. I called them up and said, I don't understand. You updated the law within 3 months with thousands of pages. He says, yes, the law changes according to politics every 3 months. Why are you surprised? I said, because I'm also a person of spiritual leadership, and that Bible, that never changes. So the left said, yeah, because that's God-given. God-given, it does never changes, not because it's old-fashioned, because it applies itself to every age. 1 + 1 is 2, whether I'm building a spacecraft, a spaceshift, whatever it is, spacecraft, or I'm building a nuclear ship, or I'm building a building, 1 + 1 will be 2. The same applies to spiritual values. Those same spiritual values of the 10 Commandments are almost in every Supreme Court in the States, in Europe, in the Western world, the free world, because we understand that without those values, there is no more the basic framework and foundation for society. We're talking about good deeds for somebody else, not because of an interest. I see somebody in need, I offered them help, right? And I don't want to mention names, but a very close relative of mine saw recently a child walking out of school that was maybe a 2-3 years old little toddler running out of school between cars. Said, who is this child? So one woman said, well, it's not mine. And she carried on. So what if it's not yours? This child can be, she can be run over. What if it is not your child? Who cares? When you see something that needs to be fixed, it needs to be rectified, do it. It doesn't have to have the label, it belongs to me. I don't care, it doesn't belong to you. It does belong to you. If God put you there, do something about it. If you see a homeless person at the corner and you do have $1 or a few cents, give them. If you cannot give them because you don't have or you're scared, at least have the sorrow in your heart. I'm sorry, I can't give them. I'm sorry. Give them something to eat. If you can, at least have sorrow in your heart. I'm sorry, I can't help it. There's a very big, interesting Kabbalistic rule which says as follows. We know that one of the 10 Commandments got nothing to do with situation right now. Apparently, it's got to do with guarding the Sabbath. Guarding the Sabbath is that day which God said, you're created in my image. I rested on the 7th day, you rest as well. And Moses gave it to Pharaoh, this rule, and he said, look, if you're going to drive them 7 days, those Jewish slaves are going to die. Okay, give them 1 day to rest. On the Sabbath, every day we have about 2 meals, meaning a very good dinner, and somewhere during the day we have a lunch or a brunch. 1 day during the week, we are asked to have 3 meals, which is dinner time, during the morning, some kind of brunch, and in the early or late afternoon, a special meal, because we respect that day. We don't respect ourselves. We respect that God-given opportunity to be alive, to be part of creation and part of the influencing of this creation. The Gemara, the oral law and the Kabbalah tells us, if you make sure, moving forward, not what was done in the past, that you keep those 3 meals during the Sabbath, in other words, just have a nice fancy meal. It can be a fish, it can be a nice dessert, whatever makes you happy. And say, this is in your honor, God. I'm honoring you because you resonate with that energy of peace, energy of love, energy of, I want to be with peace of mind, no stress. I'm giving place for, and you resonate with this through the universe. You don't know, wherever you are on this earth, God put you there because you resonate out. You don't only give, you don't only get bills and taxes in your post, in your mail. You also resonate out your energy. When you did that, you're going to be saved those 3 things. Gog and Magog, which is Armageddon, right? The pangs of redemption which are coming, right? And from whatever is going to happen after this world, because this world is only the beginning. We have to give account for everything we've done. We know by Professor Kubler-Ross, who lived here in Arizona a few good years back, that when a person, after 35,000 people that she researched with and documented scientifically, she was a psychiatrist, everyone says when they pass away, they're being shown a video of their entire life. What did you do? What did you think? What did you feel? On every single count. We can't change that. Your everyday should be exactly the same. But what you should do about it is have that thought in mind. I'm doing it for a good purpose. I'm doing it for a good reason. I'm negating, I'm stopping myself from being a taker. I'm stopping myself from being adulterous. I'm stopping myself from being unethical. I'm stopping myself from gossiping on others. Every single person around is a child of God. If somebody spoke about my wife, my kid, my sister, my brother, oh boy, I wouldn't be very happy with them. But this is what we do. This is all the children of God. Why do you think that we go around with masks everywhere? Because we gossip too much. Why do you think that God wanted us to have social distancing? Because we kiss too much, we hug too much wherever we shouldn't. Think about it. There's a whole book that I put out about 2 years ago already about what it's called, I think, The Higher Calling. It's out in Amazon. What is it for? It doesn't come for nothing. If we think this world is random, we just carry on living and just flowing with life, we don't learn the lessons that are out there to teach us. So right now, our work is to have more friendship, more love, more compassion, and understand the following. There are no 2 different kind of departments or forces. There is no God, and there's me, and there's Russia, and the Americans, and NATO, the Chinese, and Muslims. No. There's only one in charge, one being God. And everything is in his hands. All I need to do is not say, God, please take away, Putin, please take away. No. God, please facilitate more love. Please allow me to be more loving. Allow me to be less aggressive. Allow me to be less judgmental. Allow me to be less critical towards others. Facilitate that. It's everything through my perspective, how I see the world. All we need to do is affect ourselves, change in ourselves, and that causes a ripple effect. You think I'm talking nonsense, so this is not true? Look into the Bible. Noah was one guy, one little guy. Who remembers Noah? He spoke and he spoke. He was blue and black and red in his face. He's the only one that survived. We have found archaeologically the Ark of Noah. We have found it. It really happened. We know exactly where Abraham is being buried. Noah started the world again. Abraham started 3 religions. All the Eastern religions come from his children, from his second wife, Hagar or Keturah. Islam comes from Abraham because Ismail was his child. Judaism comes from this. Christianity comes from his grandchild who came from Esau. So all great religions in the world, including Eastern religions, come from this one man who said no to paganism, who said no to just taking from the world, no to selfishness, and started his own little thing. Now, there were no TVs, no internets, no Instagram, no Facebook, nothing like that. It was just one man show that stood out there and tried to do his best. And look, 4,000 years down the line, the ripple effects that he's created, he changed the world around. Why can't we be, each one of us, a little Abraham, a little Noah? Whoever it is that you hold by, that this is your great spiritual mentor, you can make a difference. And this is a great thing. And today, this difference can be that less people are being killed. This difference can be that redemption is going to come easier. That's the big difference. And so the results, we know the results, and the results are horrendous. But the way that it will happen, we can make it with more mercy, we can make it with more compassion. We can make sure that less people die. By what? By me changing me. I don't have to go out there and fight. I don't have to go and shout out in Hyde Park. I don't have to do that. I have to be with myself, with the people that are around me, and make a big change in me. When I make a big change in me, that creates a ripple effect here and now, not in the future, here and now. And who knows what kind of influence. I will share with you one interesting thing, and I'll open it to you. I remember living in Israel, and I heard over the news, there was an airplane in great deal of danger. The front wheel, and I'm an aerospace engineer, my first degree, the front wheel is not coming down. So this airplane was going around and around in the sky, an Al airplane with over 400 people around. If this wheel does not come down, they can all die. And they were trying to dump most of the gas in that airplane, because if they're going to do a crash landing, an emergency landing, that there'll be as less casualties as possible. It's going to turn into a huge fire. And those people were panicked. So I asked myself, I remember it was 2 p.m. Why did I switch on the news, which I almost rarely do? Why did I hear this? What can I do to help those people up there, somewhere in the sky? I'm not there. I'm not an engineer up there in attendance. I cannot say that. I can pray. I can envision that will coming down. I can pray for them. I can pray for this, which I did. Now, later on, that plane landed safely, and somehow with a miracle, that's, well, the last few seconds came. We don't know how, but it did. So when I come up there after 120, maybe they'll tell me, Mr. Gil Tivon, you have saved 400 people. I didn't say anymore. I just opened my mouth, and that's what you can do now. That's what you can do now. You can make a big difference. There are people right now on the same globe that are really suffering, that are crying, that are in panic, children, ladies, elderly people, sick people on both sides. And this can escalate to a nuclear war. Didn't prepare this lecture because I want to make you afraid. I prepared this lecture because it's been around for over 2,000 years, nearly 4,000 years, of prophecies that we know the map, what's going to happen. But we can make a difference, make it better. We can make a cushion effect. So try to make the difference. And this lecture was made for me. And I gave this lecture to myself. I must make a difference. I'm enlisted to the army of God, so to say, and I have to be a better person. That's it. I have to put aside all the nonsense, all the selfishness, all the fights, all the quarrels, all the disagreements. I have to be a better human being. If I can do that, maybe I can make a difference. I can't ask you to do that. I can ask myself. Your reflection, my friends. Please go ahead. If you got a few more minutes, you can say whatever you wish.
Hi, this is Mia.
I'm Mia.
So I agree with you, and I've had the same sense in my spirit since this recent war began, is that my responsibility is not physical. Although I could donate, of course, money, but it's primarily spiritual. It's primarily in my daily prayers to focus
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and so many of the words we say, I pray in English, and many of the words in the Siddur are very
Yes.
applicable to
Right.
this conflagration, not
Right.
only between Ukraine and Russia, but the one you were describing, which is
Yes.
much more a biblical proportion.
Right.
So anyway, that focusing on that, thinking about it while I'm praying and knowing that that makes a difference to Hashem. My prayer actually makes a difference to Hashem.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. No question about it. I agree with you completely. It definitely does. Yes. And again, this time there's a great, and we see someone like Abrams facing Sodom and Gomorrah. We know that the people that lived there they're really wicked. Now we call a spade a spade. There was no question about it. And negotiates and argues with God and says, maybe you'll have 40 good people that live there. And he goes down to 10, less than 10. He says, well, God, I give up. And God turns Sodom and Gomorrah. But if there's goodness in a person, not only 10 good people, goodness in a person that can be revealed. And we all live inside this network of human beings that when I am becoming better, I'm influencing subconsciously other people. If I know that there's a certain bank branch, there's one man, I don't even know his name. Whenever I come in, and he's straight, and I'm straight, he smiles at me, he looks at my eye, doesn't remember, oh, hello, Mr. Tivon, how you doing, man? I will always remember because he always, even though he works a hard day's job, and I'm sure how well he's paid, he always found it in his heart to smile to every customer in a very decent, honest way. I remember him for years because he's outstanding in that incredible view of human beings that, yeah, what do you want? How can I help you? I don't want to help you. Go away. So we can do that. We can smile, we can help, we can listen. This makes a very big difference to many of us. And it's just this attitude of become more divine, to become more godly. It's basic stuff. It's not asking us to be angels, just asking us to be more human beings with each other, to love our fellows as we love ourselves, to do it for others what we love to be done, not to do to others what we hate and dislike to be done to us. This is very, very simple, and cleave very much to faith. I will share with you one last thing. I'm just thinking how to say it and what to say, what is confidential. A certain person that I know of that approached me and said she wants to change her religion, or she had enough of God, whatever it is. Kabbalah tells us that right now there is a fight about each and every one of us, each and every soul. Will we go to the satanic cults, or will we go to God? Will we go towards the good or towards the real evil? And these things come when we are not aware, when we don't pay attention. These kind of demon attacks, this kind of aggression, this kind of selfishness, of egoism attacks us. We must be on guard, very much like a soldier will be on guard to guard his country. We must guard our own borderlines. We must guard our own self, or what we allow ourselves. And when I say that, that's a small little thing, who cares? I just take a few drugs. I just steal a little bit of money. I'll just be a little bit adulterous. I'll just be a little bit of a lover here. Every single act counts. This is the world given over by the Chofetz Chaim D'Orcha. Every single action right now, every single thought counts. So we don't want to be panicked. We want to be very quiet with peace of mind. But out of this peace of mind, we must really take consideration our choices and what we do and what we act and what we see and what we behave with, because that's right now when it's time of war that can de-escalate, not only escalate, but de-escalate to nuclear war. We can really have to take into account, say, I am clean. I am doing my best to make sure that it isn't there. And if we do that, that would be great. Anyone else that I see in front of me? Or we'll call it a day. I'm gonna count to 3. This is my public auction. 1, 2, and we'll call it a day. Later on, it's going to be on YouTube. I'm going to send you the recording. It's my fault. I forgot to record the beginning. I was so much in passion. So whatever we can do, right, from everyone, thank you too. God bless you, and good.